Hello, beautiful people. I am still alive. It's been 2 weeks since I've released anything. Life happens. I'm still a mother and a wife and a friend and a daughter and all the things. So I haven't had a chance to. I've been recording though. Lots of recording has been going on. I just need to edit since I'm I kind of do all of it on my own. So yeah, lots of recording, lots of editing, and I'm back after 2 weeks. Today's show is a very spontaneous conversation. Jenna and I got together because we were going to be recording with a guest, and there was some miscommunication. So we were not able to record, but we were, we rescheduled and everything. We were sitting in front of the microphones, and she just seemed very, down and sad. And Jenna's the type who's just always very upbeat and a smile on her face. Even things are going horrible or sad or frustrating for her, she always spins it into a positive. That's just her personality. So we started talking. I was just asking her how she's doing. And in talking, she stopped and she's like, I want to record this. So this recording today was not planned. We had no idea where the conversation was going. We just pressed record, and this would have been a conversation we would have had without the microphones, but we thought we would share what's going on in her life, and then some thoughts just started rolling. So yes, today's show, unplanned, pretty much uncensored, and yeah, welcome to this conversation because it was just a little spontaneous recording. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. And as always, enjoy. Hi, I am your host, Lyanette Talley, and you are listening to Virago 24/7. Virago is Latin for female warrior, and 24/7 is for all day, every day. Virago 24/7 is a weekly podcast that brings diverse women together to talk about life and our experiences in this world. We share our views on self-love, mental health, marriage, children, friendships, and really anything that needs to be talked about. Here, you will find everyday growth, everyday healing with everyday warriors. Just give me my space to move. 'Cause it's my thoughts, what I want, and I want what I want. Hey, Jenna.
Hey, girl.
So, we were just talking.
Yeah, decided to hit record.
Yeah.
Because it was so good.
So you say you just woke up this morning, and what were you thinking?
I just woke up this morning trying to figure out, the position that I'm in right now is completely, I guess, what you would call a clean slate. I also need to reinvent myself on creating a retirement for myself, unfortunately. So my mind's been real on money and retirement and how to do this at the age of 49. So I woke up this morning thinking about not money, but purpose. Like a mom of 3, now almost a future ex-wife, which I never thought I'd have the title of. But I thought, how do I want to leave this earth? What do I want to be known for? What do I want to be remembered for? And what is my purpose? And just trying to figure out why we all are in the space that we are in. And it just made me think about women and women's lib and how far we've come in this world as women, as humans. But I feel like, gosh, we took over and got into the workforce and kicked ass with that, and still not treated equally, but making great waves. And I feel like the men have not evolved, but we have. Mm-hmm.
And you made the comment that they declined, and I'm like, no, I think this is how they've always been. Yeah. This is how it's always been. We are just more empowered as women, and our eyes are being open, and the blinders are coming off.
We're speaking up.
We're speaking up.
Yeah.
And we're seeing men for who they are, They've always been this way. We just didn't have that voice before.
Yeah.
And how lucky are we that we live in this generation where we can be heard and we are speaking up.
Absolutely. But my sadness lied within the men of, why no growth? You know, why more anger? Why more sadness? Why more greed? Why more ego? You know, why are we the empaths? Why are we the feelers, the growers, the touchers, the movers? Why? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And this is all lumping and grouping because, of course, there's exceptions to all of this.
Oh, yeah.
But then I spoke to a good friend of mine who also is in a marriage that is similar, you know, to what mine was, and it very controlling. And we both were just saying, there was this one Oprah episode, I don't know if people remember, where the men all stood up and came clean about being sexually abused. Do you remember that episode?
I do remember that. That
was powerful.
Yeah, it was very
right?
powerful.
Everybody
Yeah.
says that watched it.
Yeah.
Our jaws dropped,
Mhm.
right? So I was saying, I feel right now, if we had a room full of women and I stepped up and I told my real story, because I have not told my real story. But if I did, and somebody else joined me and told their real story, and another lady joined and told her real story, I have a feeling they'd all be pretty similar behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty darn sad, because behind closed doors is anger, rage, fear, sadness, pain, hurt. I think the audience would stand up.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel that there needs to be a conversation about men, and why not the growth? Why not the emotional regulation? Why not looking at our generation and how we were raised? Why not figuring out, did that have an effect on me? Being quieted all the time, not being able to have an opinion. Because that makes, scientifically, it makes one angry later on. And we were not allowed to have voices as children in our generation.
Yeah.
You know, it was respect, obey, be seen, not heard. And even when I'm in the grocery store, and it's our generation I'm seeing. When I say ours, I say from like 50s to 60s, a lot of angry people yelling at their kids. Everybody's angry. Hell, yeah, everyone's angry right now. It's not just our generation, but I'm talking from my experience. I remember kids not having voices.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just time to look at generational flaws, maybe. I don't know what word to put to it, but outcomes would probably be a better word, because there's studies behind this. And why are they not doing the work? How about all the fatherless fathering that happened?
Yeah.
How about let's put race on that? You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's a huge demographic amongst the Black community with no fathers in the home. Where were they? Where were all these dads? If nobody had dads in the home, where the hell were all the men?
I mean, they were off. I'm assuming they're off just being selfish and living their lives.
Yeah.
Without even caring about what's going on,
Yeah.
in the home that they left or the child that they left.
So as I thought about all of this and, why I'm so evolved right now and such a deep thinker, what is important to me, and I think it's to really shine a light on this subject. I don't know how, but I think it's time for men to rise up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time for fatherless fathering to end. I think it's time for them to get some parenting skills so we're not the only one that they run to.
Mm-hmm.
They should not just be providers. Like, you keep doing the same thing over and over and over and get the same results. Well, look at us.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to make some change. And I'm going to be an advocate for my children and myself, for men to stand up, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I would love, and you and I have talked about this, and I would love to have a men's panel on the show. More than one. You know, I would love to have different types of men, demographics and races, just to get their perspective on why. I mean, they can be the ones to answer that why. I'm assuming, you know, as an observer, I'm not a man, but, you know, they're not allowed to be expressive. That's not a thing for men and little boys. Depending,
weakness, right?
Yeah.
Is that why you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then that's ingrained in them, just like there's stuff ingrained in women. That's ingrained in boys and men. And they just keep all that stuff bottled up. So of course it's going to turn to anger. And if you don't have anybody to talk to, and see, the thing is, men don't talk like women do. Mm-hmm. Even if, you know, on this podcast, we're sharing our story. So we have, you know, multiple people listening to us. But even say if you just have one or two friends, you're able to like let all that out, have some coffee, have some wine, whatever, you know, your preferred drink is. And we talk and we share, and then we leave, you know, that hangout feeling like, wow, I was heard, you know, we connected. Men don't really do that. When they get together, it's so superficial. You know, I think men might have like one friend that they really can talk to about anything.
Yeah.
One friend, which is fine. One friend is good. But how often do they see that one friend? You know, men don't really come together to express. It's superficial. Let's talk about sports. Let's talk about, you know, the Cowboys or whatever.
Let's pretend we don't know what's really going on here. And
let's fake
just,
it.
You know, leave the elephant in the room alone. That's what blows me away. Like, hey, nobody says anything. Nope.
That elephant is like in the it's like in between all of them. Say they're sitting in a circle. The elephant is like in the middle.
Look, the elephant couldn't take a shit on their face. Girl, they need to get up to the bathroom, wash their face, come back.
What elephant?
Like,
Where did the shit come from?
So what were we saying?
Yeah.
Girls would be like, what the?
Yeah. Why is this elephant in the middle of the room? What the fuck is going on?
Everybody be talking about shit.
Yeah.
We be posting it, taking pictures.
Men are like, I don't see it. It's just, it's a different mentality. And I don't get it. I mean, Philip and I have this conversation all the time. I don't get it. Like, you guys just hang out and everything is surface. Mm-hmm. Like, what kind of hangout was that?
So I don't have that kind of time in my life.
No.
Like, I don't.
No.
I see it as their way of relieving stress, their way of not having to listen to our bullshit.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, women are annoying. Absolutely. I mean, it's true.
I'm not. No, I'm kidding.
And sometimes
Philip, I think he's learned to like tune me out a little bit. He's there, but he's tuned me out.
And I don't care how awesome we are.
Yeah.
We all, as individuals, can be annoying.
Oh, definitely.
Especially women.
Yes.
We think way too much shit with what we just said.
Yeah.
They can keep the surface. We're deep diving.
Yeah,
man. We got like 7 layers to talk about. What the fuck are you doing up there?
Yes. You need to keep up. Come on now.
So I think sometimes they just want to chill.
Other day, I wish I could remember what we were talking about, but it was like one topic. And then my brain went to the next thing that kind of related to what we were talking about. And he still thought that we were stuck on the other thing. I'm like, no, man.
Keep up.
I moved on to the next conversation. He was cracking up at me. I'm like, no, we moved on. Like, we're done with that part. Like, we're over here. And he's just like, wow, like, okay. And I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Definitely.
Oh man, I wish I could remember what we were talking about, but I started laughing. I was like, wow. Like, in your head, it's just going. Yeah. But poor men, they just weren't allowed to express for the most part. And, or are they born that way? I don't know, because my little dude, he keeps stuff inside and I try to pull it out of him. So I don't know if it's, I don't know. Are they born and they see that other guys don't speak up? So
that's the whole nurture type of conversation to have. And I believe they mimic what they see.
Yeah.
And it could be outside of us. Mm-hmm. They mimic what they see, what they like, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I remember doing as a kid. I remember feeling a certain way around certain people and not feeling so well around others and not wanting to be like them and seeing those as red flags.
Okay.
You know, I think that, don't you feel that way growing up?
Oh, yes.
So that's instilled.
Yes.
So if Philip's quiet, I'm sure,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Khalil's going to be
Yes.
quiet.
Yeah.
If you're loud and outspoken, he doesn't need to speak.
That's
I'll never forget Jayla when she was a little baby, being the third child. I would come in from work really late. James would have him in the bath at that point, and I'd catch up with everybody. Like Jaden would be in the shower, the girls would be in the tub. You know, I'd be like, Jaden, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. Jamie, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. And Jayla would stand up and she'd say, you no talk to me.
oh.
And I was like, she'd say, you talk to Jaden, you talk to Jamie, you no talk to me.
Oh.
And she was right. And I'll never forget how important it is for people to be heard. Like she wanted me to ask about her day, but I hadn't gotten to her yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And a lot of times I probably didn't get to her.
Yeah.
Like,
Because the other two were talking.
how much shit can one person handle? I'm sorry. Like, that's another conversation. People aren't happy because why are our lists so long?
Yeah.
You know, I went into therapy the other day going, I can't get anything accomplished. I'm just got so much. I feel like I'm dropping the balls all the time. And it's too much for one person. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like I am like having to take on jobs that I didn't have for 15, 16 years right now. I'm having to take on jobs on top of transition, on top of everything. You know, it's overwhelming going through a divorce with 3 children. So it's like, why is all of this on me? Why is all of this falling on the women all the time? And it happens in homes where the dads are there.
I was just going to say that. It has nothing to do with the divorce. Definitely that makes it harder for sure.
Well, it makes it obvious.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's the thing.
That's a good point. It makes it obvious.
Shit, what we were just talking about when you said, or have they always been this way?
Yeah.
In the beginning, when I was saying, like, why haven't men evolved?
Yeah.
And yeah.
This is it. So you're just seeing it for the first time, like, wow, it's always fallen on me.
Look, I thought my life was going to get easier when he left. I did.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it wasn't. And it has in certain aspects in our home, but this is the hardest job ever given to any human, is to be a parent and be responsible to groom another human being, especially when you are aware and evolved
Yes.
of what it takes to truly do that. So my job right now is extremely hard because I take it extremely serious. I want my children to be good humans that contribute and have patience and kindness and compassion and empathy and hard values that are not swayed upon. And why is there so much fatherless fathering? We don't need your money. Yes, we all need money, but we need your strength, your support. The core values of life is not to live in the biggest home, to drive the nicest car, to have your kids go to the Ivy League school. They're not stamps of fucking approvals anymore. We have surpassed this. If we don't start talking about emotions and why can't men speak up amongst other men and call each other out and say, man, I'm worried about you. Why can't they do that? Now, when that man is gone, because I just had a friend commit suicide over the weekend, that's my age, who was mentally not stable for many years. Wow. And I did his hair for years.
Wow.
He left behind, kids in their late teens. And how are these guys going to feel when that's their buddy that they should have spoke up to? Or do men just not even care because they're that numb and checking out as we are? I mean, this is
Or they just think that's not my business, not my circus, not my monkey.
exactly how they feel because they have so much pressure on them. I feel they kind of have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not knocking the male surface bonding. I'm not knocking that because sometimes I just want to go out and put my feet up and just not talk about a whole lot, but just drink and laugh.
Yes.
Gosh, I haven't done that in so long.
I know. I was just telling you, like you need a timeout. You need a timeout.
I'm so upset right now, and I'm trying to be strong, proud, handle this the best that I can. But my children have lost their father in the home. I have lost my spouse. They have not seen a healthy marriage on my part. They have not seen a healthy marriage on his part. Like we both have just not done well by our children in that department. And it sucks.
That's tough. It's tough because just because you get a divorce doesn't mean it has to be all bad. However, both parties have to be willing to grow and to learn from that experience. So like, okay, we divorced, but what do we learn from that? When the one person is just thinking that they had no
accountability.
Yeah, that's the word I was thinking of. Like they have nothing. They didn't have a part in this divorce. It was, and I'm just going to continue to be who I am. I'm not going to try to work on myself. I'm not going to try to change because there's nothing wrong with me. Mm-hmm. And then the other person's growing. It's harder to come together as a team for the children. Mm-hmm. Both people need to be willing to put their egos aside for the kids. And it's just so much harder when one person's doing it and the other isn't.
Yeah.
How do we get over that? It's just shit, man. Everyone just needs to figure out what their shit is within them and try to work that out. But some of us just aren't willing to dig deep enough to heal. And maybe it's too painful for them to even talk about. So they just stuff it. And they may just die with those secrets and they may just die with that pain and that hurt. But in the process, they're hurting the people around them, children, spouses, new people that are going to come to their life, new relationships.
Family. They hurt their own family too.
Yeah. So it's an individual thing where each person, whether woman or man, has to decide, this is not working for me anymore. I don't like feeling this way. I don't like going through life this way, feeling like this not in my body, within me, anxiety, whatever we are calling these things. There's so many terms out there, but whatever is kind of holding you back from living your best life. Because some people think, like you said, going back to the money, like that's their best life, but that's surface. Are you truly living your best life, being your authentic self?
Oh my gosh.
And you have to decide that for yourself. And there's a lot of people that don't. It's so hard. You have to be so uncomfortable for there to be change. You're not going to change by feeling all the fuzzy wuzzy happy things. You have to be extremely uncomfortable. There's going to be a lot of crying. There's going to be a lot of, and this is not coming because I'm a therapist or anything like that. I'm speaking from experience, from what I've had to do. And it sucks and it hurts but it's necessary because then you just kind of purge all that shit and all that stuff. So men, we're going to have that men's panel like soon.
So
I want to have this conversation with them and see where is the wall. That there's a wall in front of them, and what do we need to do to kick that down so that we can all grow and heal.
We need men. We need them. Our kids need them. We don't need their money.
No.
Like, honestly, women can make money now. Kids can make money now. Mm-hmm. Anybody can go about doing what they can do.
Yes.
But we need them to get better. We need for them to stand up. We need for them to do the work. We need for them to show emotion and empathy and
I mean, and women too. I don't want this to be like a.
Well, we're lumping.
We've
been lumping
because
from the
I know a
beginning.
few women
that need it too.
that definitely need it, and it doesn't seem like they
parenting.
are even.
Why don't we switch it to parenting? Because I know a lot of men that are freaking amazing fathers, but horrible providers.
Yeah.
And, you know, those women too are unhappy because they aren't being provided for financially. So, you know, you can't get both. Well, really? Women have done both for how many years now?
Yeah.
I'm so tired of that excuse too. Well, I make the money. Well, now I'm expected to do both too, but you can't do both. Like, why is this way? I am seeing some change and with divorces where dads are actually wanting every other week instead of the occasional weekends. But this is all just sad. It's all caused from hurt and anger and sadness, and it's heavy on me. That's why I don't go out much. I'm tired of seeing the hurt and the sadness. This pandemic has done a number. Being in war right now, I mean, we might as well call it that. Have they officially called it war with Ukraine and Russia?
I think so.
Yeah. So I put my head in the sand with that because I can't handle it. I can read news articles. I don't want to see it. The pictures are enough, you know. This world is in need of men. We need our men. We're losing our men to the ego, to the dollar, to the thinking you've made it if you have a certain lifestyle or bank account is so driven into them. And now we need to realize it doesn't work. It's not what women need. It's not what children need. They need your time. They need your experience. They need to see you grow and soften and say, I'm sorry, or I don't want to be this person, or I love this about you and I want to do more with you. Like, it's just, it's sad because there are good men out there.
Yeah.
You know? And I just see hurt.
It's like little boys walking around. I see men, a lot of them, they're like little boys, but like they're in a costume, in a man's costume.
Yeah.
Like the outward part of them is like, I'm a man. But inside is this little boy just still hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the only thing that I think to do is just keep talking about it until maybe one at a time.
Yeah.
You know, they just start speaking out and wanting to heal.
So there's a couple men right now that have given me hope and faith and all of this, and makes me want to continue to communicate about it. Kojo, he's amazing. He does these little skits on ADHD, which through all of this divorce, I did everything I could to make sure it was not me contributing to the death of our marriage. And I even went and got tested for ADHD and everything. And I came back like on the very low spectrum of it. So I'm trying to understand it a little bit more. And it is very understandable once you are diagnosed and see what the signs are. But he's wonderful because he's basically saying, you know, get to know your partner. And if they have ADHD, know their signs and how to work with them. And, you know, he too had ADHD growing up and everybody said he wasn't going to make it because he had horrible grades. And now he's a doctor who's really going to make an influence on this arena that I'm interested in. There's another one. Oh gosh, I'm going to go blank on his name. Ace Metaphor.
Okay.
Self-diagnosed, or not self-diagnosed, I'm sorry. Diagnosed narcissist. And he is helping women recognize the signs. He is telling us point blank, like, stop believing this. And it's eye-opening. I think any woman who listens to him would be like, oh my gosh, yes, because you know somebody, right?
Does he share how he came to that realization and what, like how he just was aware of that and wanted to do something about it?
He still struggles. He's still in therapy. I think he's been in therapy like 3 years, but just the vulnerability of coming clean and being a black male to boot. Like both these men are black men.
Okay.
And not excluding white, but I'm just really myself feel that it's also a huge cultural deficit. So
Yeah.
I would suggest everybody, you should put a link on that for Kojo and Ace Metaphor, because those are two men. If you're losing hope in men and them not being able to relate or being in tune with their emotions, I would check both of them out. And if you feel you might be in an unhealthy relationship or suffer from anything or have friends that have, it's just they're good men talking about mental health. They're inspiring, and I hope to do the same thing and normalize this because like I said, we had an arena. I guarantee so many women would stand up and be victims of abuse behind closed doors.
Yeah. So
I'm telling you, it is.
Yeah.
Every time I speak up about any of it to anybody, I have people call me and tell me like, oh my gosh, my husband this, or oh my gosh, my husband that. And, being a hairdresser for so many years, I know what goes on behind closed doors, and this is normal. I normalized it,
Yeah.
It's a rough thing to hear the yelling and the screaming and thinking it's normal in your childhood, and then, duplicating it in your adulthood. And then when you step back and look and you're like, oh my gosh, why am I doing that? Like, I'm so ashamed. I'm so aware of how horribly I've spoke to my family. I'm so aware of how much damage I have done that's why I guess I'm so exhausted, because I'm doing the deep work. It's easier just to say, kids are resilient and just move on and find somebody else to stroke your ego. But I'm doing the deep work. That's why it's
it's draining.
It is. Yeah. It is. But my gosh, my kids are going to be out of here before long, and I need to correct and show them how you can change poor behaviors and grow. Because I'm growing always. I'll be growing at 70, 80. I'm constantly evolving and trying to do better and feel better myself. So,
well, I just want to tell you, since I started the podcast and just in the past few months, just getting such awesome feedback from other women, whether they see me or whether they make a phone call and share. I mean, I have people that I may not even talk to on a regular basis, and I had no idea that they were even listening, but they're listening and they're loving it. On the flip side, I know we've had some people not happy with, things that we have to talk about and things that we're saying, and which is interesting because they're listening. It's more than one, more than two. I mean, I've had through the grapevine, I've heard some things about, just people not happy. And I told you the other day that, thank you. I'm glad that I'm aware of some of these people. However, not everyone is on the same journey in the same healing process. And they just cannot even imagine speaking their truth the way we are.
Yeah.
And so how dare us even do that? Because they can't even imagine doing it themselves. And that's okay. Like, there's no judgment there. But we need to continue to talk about this, because this is the only way we're going to heal. Because like you said, you're still growing. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. And the more we talk, the more people come and approach us. And then we learn from them and their experience. It's like, oh, shoot. Okay. We just have to continue. And if you're not ready to speak your truth, that's okay. But we're ready to move forward in this healing process. We're ready to instill this in our children so that they don't have to deal with this crap when they're older. We're just going to continue to do it, because honestly, the people that are enjoying this there's way more of them than the ones that are not loving what we're doing and what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
it gets back to the purpose. The purpose is to really expose what's happening here, what women are going through, and the truth behind these beautiful pictures and the truth behind these gorgeous houses. It's not it's a lot of suffering going on, a lot of numbing, a lot of sadness. And with the world we're leaving our kids, we at least need to leave them mentally better to handle it all.
Yes.
More tools. Tools. Give them tools.
Yeah. So. Because honestly, life is always going to be hard, and there's going to be things where there's going to be lovely moments, but there's going to be a lot of things that that our kids are going to be facing, and they have to be mentally strong for that, emotionally prepared, and that's what we're doing.
Absolutely.
So
yes,
let's keep on talking.
I enjoy it,
and thank you for those that listen.
Absolutely.
Whether you love us or not, we appreciate the support.
Just keep living your truth.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I love you so much, and this is just your testimony.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks right now, but it's going to be your testimony to help others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good too.
Onward
and upward.
Yep.
Appreciate you, my friend.
All right. Bye. We will end with this. We deserve good things. We deserve peace. We deserve to live in our truth. We deserve grace. We deserve comfort. We deserve to love ourselves. We deserve happiness. We deserve healing. Thank you so much for listening to Virago 24/7. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and please give us 5-star ratings. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Virago24_7 and on Facebook at Virago24/7, and just connect with us and share your story. We'd love to hear from you.